Let's just say you have several 3D printable sci-fi military vehicles you're trying to sell people, and you need a display board to show them off. Well, that's a problem I'm solving today. This video is supported by my crowdfunding campaign for a set of sci-fi 3D printable vehicles. More on that in a little bit. Let's start by building a cool base for the cool display. And for this, I've got a nice chunk here of black walnut. It's a little bit big, so I've got to cut it down and I'll go from there. I've transferred the shape of the wood base to this piece of paper here, and I'm going to build a terrain on top of this paper, and that is because there's more processes that have to go into working on the piece of wood, and I got to finish all the terrain before I can do that stuff. More on that later. So now let's build the actual terrain that the three miniatures, well, larger vehicles are going to be sitting on in this case. I've got a very rough shape of the terrain here. Let's kind of tear into things just a bit more and refine the layout a little bit. So what you saw me do right there is an idea I kind of borrowed from another YouTube video where you take some plastilina clay as well as actual rocks to build your own custom rock mold so they can kind of be sized and shaped to whatever diorama you're looking at. Well, something went a bit of askew right there because you saw me using the heat gun. Instead of getting nice large rocks, I kind of got a bunch of tiny little pieces out of the mold, but they still have the texture on them, so I can work with them. It's all right. So probably what happened is I got the wrong ratio of plaster to water, didn't cure right. That happens all the time. Let's make another batch and then get to gluing these guys on the diorama. Thank you, brain. And we'll get back to the build here in just a moment, but I want to show you guys one of the military vehicles in my crowdfunding campaign. This is the Griffin hover tank. It's probably the most sci-fi of all the vehicles in there. Alongside this one, you get the Bracer main battle tank, as well as the Archer multiple launch rocket system. Now, these 32mm 3D printable miniatures are designed in such a way to maximize detail while minimizing support on your standard FFF 3D printers. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, you can check out the link in the description below or head over to tabletopbattlefield.com/alliance to check out the crowdfunding campaign. All right, let's get back to the build process. This whole process of painting the rocks with whole red and yellow washes followed by some layers of gray, I'm always amazed by just how well this works. It seems like it shouldn't, but it really does. However, I want to take it one step further, which could be a very bad idea, and add some more contrast with some Black Templar contrast paint. Well, I got a little bit concerned right there because I spent some time scrambling around looking for all my flocking. All I really came up with was this little mount, and there's a tiny bit in this cup, and I'm like, where's all my flocking? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember now. Fortunately, I didn't need a whole lot. So this little bit that was in here, it was enough, and this thing's gonna look all right. Now it's time to play with the new fun toy of mine, the Static King, which frankly sounds like something Billy Mays would have hawked back in the day. But it's a really cool toy, and let's make things look really awesome. Now, Woodland Scenics makes about a half a dozen types of glue, and the reality is if you want to do things right, you kind of need to buy all those types of glue. Or you can be stupid like a fox. I was getting on my hands. Hours of work have come down to one final sketchy moment, and that's the resin pour for the river right here. If you saw my video where I take my 3D printed river tiles, link down the store below for Etsy store, blah, blah, blah. It's the same basic process, just a lot bigger. What I want to do here is have a bit of a river flowing downhill, so I've actually tilted the entire diorama back a little bit to get a relatively equal depth of water across the entire river basin. So same resin over here, and I'm going to use a little bit of blue dye, try not to get it on my hands, and we can hopefully call this project done in just, well, okay, a few minutes of work, 48 hours of drying time. You know how that goes. My eyes just started watering this stuff, which is new. So I got the safety goggles on. I'm going to call this mostly successful. I say mostly because the diorama is still a little bit attached to the table thanks to this little extra resin spill right here. It took me 2 tries to get everything correct. I missed a few spots. Resin went through cracks in the wood, big mess, all that stuff, but it's done. Let me clean some things up, and then I can call this diorama complete. There you go. That is the story of how this display board came into existence. If you want to check out the crowdfunding campaign for these military vehicles, you can head over to tabletopbattlefield.com/alliance or check out the link in the description below. And let me put this thing back up on its stand because it's getting a bit heavy holding it here while I record all this stuff. Hopefully I don't drop something. And with that, I want to thank you guys all for watching. I'm Jason, the creator of the Tabletop Battlefield, and I'll see you all next time.